Tharpe from ST Law Office, and I am here to answer your immigration questions. So anything that's immigration related, you can feel free to drop it in the comments and I will answer your questions. So I released a video today, and that video discussed all the different relatives that a US citizen can sponsor to get their green card. And so I want to run through that today, but I want you to keep in mind that your questions are my priority. And so the minute your questions start to come in, I will definitely stop talking to answer your question. But until the questions come in, I'm going to be talking about that particular topic today. So who can US citizens sponsor to get a green card? So a US citizen can sponsor their spouse, their child who's under 21 and unmarried, and their parent. Now those three immigrants fall within a special category of immediate relatives of US citizens. And what that means is that they will take priority in the green card process. Hi there, thank you for joining in. Please, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop those questions in the comments and I'll answer. I have a topic that I'm going to be talking about until the questions come in. And that topic is who can US citizens sponsor to get a green card? So I am talking the child under 21 and unmarried of a US citizen or the parent of a US citizen. If you fall within that category, then you can apply for the green card. And not only can you apply for the green card, you can stay in the United States and apply for the green card if you enter the country with a visa. But even if that visa, you overstayed the visa and you're now undocumented, as long as you enter the country with permission, with a visa or some sort of inspection, then you will be able to apply for what's called adjustment of status, as in you can apply for the green card in the US. Sexy Tommy 1, unfortunately not. Now if you are now with parent, right? Because if you are a parent of a US citizen, your child must be over 21 to be able to sponsor you. So just keep that in mind. And keep in mind that to be the child of a US citizen, to take priority in the green card process, you have to be under 21 and unmarried. There are other categories that the US citizen can sponsor, but this is definitely the preferable category to be in because the processing time is faster. Right now, the processing time takes about, I would say, 18 months to 24 months. As the Biden administration fixes the backlog, hopefully that processing time will speed up. But that is the time that I tell my clients to prepare for. So if you're applying, if you fall in this category and you're in the United States, you can apply for the green card while you're here. You can stay here as long as you enter the country with a visa. And even if you overstay that visa and that visa is no longer valid, and you're undocumented, as long as you entered with a visa, you should be, it is possible. Now, there are other things to look out for, like if anything else in your background that would disqualify you, of course, those are things that you also have to consider. But generally speaking, if you enter the country, if it expired, and your background is clean, no criminal issues, no misrepresentation issues, then you should be able to do the adjustment of status in the United States. So what does that mean? Adjustment of status process. So T-Don for F1 visa, if I do not get married, is there any way that I can apply for it? So since you're a student, if you're in a field where an employer can recruit you, that may be a way. If the employer is motivated enough to apply for your green card, that's one way. Also, as a student, if you have potential or you are if you have extraordinary ability as a professional. So as you develop as a student and become a professional, for example, and you can show that you have built a reputation as being at the top of your field. It could be the sciences, arts, business, education, or athletics. If you can show that you've reached the top of your field in those areas, one of those areas, then you could explore the extraordinary ability green card, and that allows you to actually apply on your own without an employer. But you have to show specific evidence, so usually documentary evidence to show that yes, you have extraordinary ability. So there are some requirements that you'd have to work through. But those are some, and the other is maybe the diversity visa. That is like basically the last resort if you have no other way to qualify for a green card. The diversity lottery, where you basically sign up, and if you're selected, you have a chance at going through the process and getting your green card. So, King Kerry first, how do I get my citizenship if my dad passed away? So if your dad passed, so if you're under 18, and you're at the time your dad and you met the requirements, and you're under 18 at the time that he became a U.S. citizen, then at that time when he was alive, you actually automatically became a U.S. citizen. So you'd have to just apply for proof that you're a U.S. citizen, apply for the certificate, or apply for your U.S. passport. And of course, you'd have to show evidence. You'd have to show your birth certificate. You'd have to show evidence that you did live with your dad while he was alive and while he became a U.S. citizen. You'd have to show that you were a permanent resident. Among other pieces of evidence. So that is one way, but I don't know your circumstances, so it would be hard to determine. But to automatically get citizenship through your father, you would have to start with, were you under 18? Or at birth, was your father a U.S. citizen? And then look at the facts. What you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889, and we can talk about your particular issue to see if you are already a citizen or if you can obtain citizenship through your dad. Thanks for sharing my live. I think that's Humildera. Thank you for sharing my live. Let me just look. I know. And Sonia Honey 7, thank you for sharing my live. I appreciate it. So let me go on. Oh, great. So King Kerry first. I am also in Palm Beach County, so I'm in Boca Raton. I do represent clients all over the country, but it's always nice to have consultations with clients close by because I can meet you in person. So definitely go ahead and give me a call. I'm going to put my number in so that you can write it down. So my number is going to be under the immigration attorney. So Sexy Tommy 1. So if I come to the USA on my visa and if I overstay, then I can apply for a green card. So if you have a US citizen parent, well, no, you're over 21. So a US citizen spouse or a US citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up. In your case, I believe you have a US citizen baby. So you'd have to wait a number of years. So in your case, that wouldn't work right now. But once your child gets over 21, they can file for the green card for you. You're welcome, King Kerry first. What is a sweetheart visa? Is there any such thing? So the sweetheart visa that I'm thinking about is the fiance visa or the marriage-based immigrant visa. Those you basically have to get married to your significant other and then file for the green card, or you could get your fiance to come to the U.S. on what's called a temporary fiance visa, and then they would give you 90 days to get married. But those are the only two visas that I can think of that would be sweetheart visas. KK, it's nice to see you. If father was supposed to take you to his interview when coming to the States but didn't. Okay, was that got that question is not complete, but I think I know where you're going with this. So is there any way for you to still apply because your father didn't, or not your, but didn't, his mother filed for him? Well, in that case, it would be up to him to not include you as a child at the time on the application. So there's nothing that could be done. Now, if you were in the United States and you are undocumented, and then your dad became a green card holder and he was supposed to take you along in the process, and for some reason he didn't do that and he mistreated you, then there is a way to apply for the green card on your own, but you have to be in the U.S. and there has to be some sort of mistreatment involved as well. King Carry first, thanks for sharing my live. Woman myself one, it's nice to see you here again, and thanks for sharing my live. So keep the questions coming. I am here to answer your immigration questions. I just would like you to know that I am U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I come here every day to answer questions. KK, you're welcome. I come here to answer your questions. That is my priority. So use the opportunity to ask an immigration attorney one of those nagging immigration questions that you have. I know if you're thinking about the process or you're going through the process, you have some kind of question. So Shaka Dexter, how do you go about getting someone here and get married in 90 days? That is the fiance visa. So you would have to submit an initial petition first in the United States, and then along with the evidence showing that you indeed have a real relationship with this person, that's your fiance. And then that is sent off to the National Visa Center. They organize an interview and the fiance attends the interview and then gets that 90-day fiance visa. Then he or she would come to the United States, your fiance, and you would have 90 days to get married. And then once you have the 90 days to get married, you'd have to file the adjustment of status application to get your spouse the green card. So that is the fiance visa process in a nutshell. And that's a good question. Thank you for that. So if you would like to learn more about me, you can do that by going to the link in my bio, and it's going to take you to my website. You're welcome, Shaka Dexter. So Sweet Sheiks 38. My sis got her green card and filing for his son. She put the paperwork before he reached 21. Yes, so in the case that she puts in the paperwork before he's 21, then hopefully he makes it. There is the risk of him if it's too close. So if it's right before he turns 21, then there may be an issue with that. It's called aging out. But if he ages out, in this case, he would go to the next category. So you have two categories where a green card holder can sponsor their spouse or child. And then when he reaches over 21, he's no longer a child, so he goes into a category where the processing time is longer, and that is son or daughter who is over 21. 21 and over, and that's taking about 5.5 years. So there is a calculation to freeze the age. If you file the paperwork before they turn 21, there is a way to freeze the age, a way to calculate it, but it's all depends on where you are in the processing time and how close to the age you applied. And he got denied. Yeah, Sweet Cheeks. So he got denied because he probably aged out. I don't know the situation. I don't know. I haven't reviewed your case in full, but just based on the information you've provided, just filing before he's 21 is not going to make him qualify. If he ages out and goes over 21, then now if he got denied, it's probably because of that. He aged out and he's now in another category, but he shouldn't. It should just move to another category and continue being processed. So yeah. Air conditioned lady, any chance I can get my adult daughter here earlier? I filed a year ago and I'm a citizen. So it depends. If your adult daughter, it's taking about 6.5 years for a U.S. citizen to sponsor an unmarried daughter who is over 21. If you do have, there is something called humanitarian parole that in extraordinary circumstances, usually they would allow your relative to come and finish the process here or wait while the process is pending. But it has to be something that's urgent. It has to be something that the officer thinks is justifiable to allow them to come into the United States. Hi, user 1997. Hi there. If you're filing for a child under 21, how long is the process after you get a 10-year green card? So that process is taking about 2 years right now, but I'm saying it's a good time to apply because there is no wait list for an immigrant visa number. Usually the long wait times is related to the wait for that immigrant visa number. Right now they're current on handing out immigrant visa numbers. And so usually you'd probably have to wait a period of time for that initial petition to be approved, the I-130. And then once the I-130 is approved, then it moves to the NVC and they start to schedule for the final interview. So I would say, safely say, prepare for about 2 years. It could be less, could be more, but the safe bet is 2 years. Queen in the deck, thanks for sharing my live. Sweet Cheeks 38, you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. That's exactly why I'm here, is to answer your immigration questions. It's nice to see you, Dragon Japarik. So I was talking about applying, who can U.S. citizens apply for to get their green card. So I talked about immediate relatives, which are children under 21 and unmarried, the spouse, or the parent. And in order to sponsor the parent, the U.S. citizen must be over 21. But there are other categories, right? So there are not only can a U.S. citizen sponsor a child, but they can also sponsor their adult children, such as over 21 and unmarried. That process is taking about 6.5 years. And then married, I don't know what you mean by that. Does your knee grow? I don't know what you mean. So married children are also can be sponsored, but that processing time takes a long time. Right now it's taking 12.5 years. And then on top of that, you do have siblings that U.S. citizens can sponsor. So with siblings, though, at this point, the length of time it takes to sponsor siblings it's a long process. So that is taking about 14 years to 22 years for that process to go through. It just depends on where your sibling is. So if your sibling is in all right, so yeah, let's let me see. Yeah, so it's taking 12 to 14 years for that process for siblings. So you don't want to, I don't know, you'd have to be very invested to be able to do that process. But the only process, why not? Let us see. So please give me some more of your questions. I think we have a troll in here too. Okay, so let us see. So keep those questions coming. Okay. So I keep those questions coming, please. I was just working on getting this Giannis Mamba out so that we can all go back to getting your questions answered. So I finally figured out how to get him out, and we can proceed with our respectful conversation again. So Misha133, I have a question. How could I bring my boyfriend to California? So you can do it through the Fiance visa, and you can also do it through the marriage base. So either way, you would have to, you would have to commit. So you'd have to be prepared to commit to that person. So loyalty 007, how long does it take to fail for a 4 years old and a 2 to file? So it depends. If you're a U.S. citizen, it's taking about 2 years, and if it is if they are right to file. So if it's if you're a U.S. citizen, about 2 years, and right now it's taking about 2 years too if you're a green card holder, because there is no wait list for the, you're welcome Misha, there's no wait list for the immigrant visa number. That can change for green card holders at any time. So now is the time. So I would say, I can safely say about 2 years for both categories. Could be less, could be more, but I like to say prepare for a 2-year process, which is the average. So let me see, make sure that I didn't miss anybody's questions. Okay. So earn 151994 or Ian, let's see. I don't know. I don't see. So I see your question, but it's, let me see, July, but till now is still ready to schedule for interview. Okay, so I think that has something to do with a delayed interview, and this is, I think it's Ian 151994. And yes, there is a delay. So, it's ready to schedule for interview, but because there have been delays, it depends on what category you're in, who is sponsoring you, what your priority date is. But what you can do is you can contact them directly and see when you can expect to hear something from them, or what the expected processing time is. So Ramboy 32, I overstayed 5 years with my B1, B2 visa, not married or engaged. Is there any way you can get a green card? It's now the options are limited. If you have usually if you have a relative, so in this case you're not married, you are I don't know if you have any relatives, so you're not married, not engaged. Do you have parents here who are U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents? Maybe there's an option there. And I mean, I don't know, you look kind of young, but do you even have a child who's over 21? There may be options there, but it's limited. You're right now, just based on what I know. But I don't like to say for sure what, you're welcome, Loyalty 007. I don't like to say for sure you don't have any options until I actually sit down with you in a consultation, because then I can evaluate all your details to determine whether you do have sort of option to obtain status and to eventually get a green card. So you're welcome. In Ian 151994, but I did my medical exam last December. Would it expire? So you did it last December, so I'm thinking that is 2020. They actually extended the time period that the exam is valid for reason, because so many cases are backlogged. So it shouldn't expire if it was just in December 2020 that you did it. If it was December 2019, then it might expire and you might have to do it over. But it just depends on the length of time that they are allowing it for it to be valid. Loyalty 0, how long does it take to get your green card after being married? So it's taking about, I would say it's ranging. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen, it's ranging from 18 months to 24 months. I've seen less, but the average time I'd say is expect an 18-month to a 24-month process. With green card holders, it's about 2 years right now. Less, could be more. It just depends on particular cases, how fast you get paperwork in, whether everything goes smoothly, whether there's a request for evidence that's involved. So it all depends on the individual's case. But I can say the average is about 2 years. You're welcome, Loyalty 0. So Ian, I filed, I filed for I-485 last July, but till now it's still ready. Okay, yeah, answer that. Trace Willie, if you overstayed on your regular visa and you're filing, is it possible to get a green card? So yes, so if you overstayed and you're in the United States and you're married to a U.S. citizen, then you should be able to adjust status as long as you don't have other immigration violations involved or criminal issues involved. Then you can apply for the green card. But it depends. In this case, I don't know if your spouse is a U.S. citizen. If your spouse is a green card holder, then there's going to be an issue, because if you overstayed by 6 months, you are going to face what's called the unlawful presence. So you're without status for over 6 months. Leave the country. you're going to be barred from coming back to the country for 3 years. If it's over a year that you've overstayed, it's a 10-year bar. Why I'm saying this is because in order to get the green card, you have to leave the country. But it's kind of like a tricky situation because, well, if you leave to go to the interview, you can't come back. The officer is going to say, oh, you overstayed, you were in the United States without your papers for over a year, that's a 10-year bar and you're inadmissible. The way around this is to stay in the United States and apply for a waiver. And when that waiver is approved, it will allow you to leave the country to complete the green card process. So it just depends on circumstances, and I would advise you to give me a call at 561-405-4889, and then we can talk more about your situation. Hi there, Nikki Ramu. It's nice to see you again. So Ramboy32, no parents, no child, just family. So in this case, I don't want to definitely say no options, but I can say that you have limited options at this point. But definitely give me a call and schedule a consultation, and let's talk about your entire history to determine whether that's true. Trace Willie, you're welcome. Sasha Mondesir, hi, I've lost my citizenship certificate. How long is the process to get my replacement? So with that process, it's taking, I would say, no, the way to look up, because it just depends on the service center that's doing it. So if you go to uscis.gov and you look up the N600 form, it's going to tell you based on where you are or where the service center would be, it's going to tell you how long that process is taking right now. So go to uscis.gov, and if you scroll on the front page, you'll see case processing times, and then just click on the service center. That's so it's a little complicated, but if you go to the N600 form, you can see where it's being filed and look up that service center, and then you'll see the precise processing time right now that they have. Thank you for following me. So I have been 5 years and I got him in the USA. Okay, I'm just trying to see where that question, where's more of that question for Fiore Del Mar. I got him in USA. I've been 5 years and I got him in the USA. So I don't see, let's see, is the right choice to apply for citizenship while I'm getting a divorce? So and then you say, okay, and then you say, I've been 5 years and I got him in the USA. So if you've had it for 5 years, that's fine. Your divorce should not affect you unless, now, if you're divorcing, because there is this funky law related to U.S. citizenship where if you were unfaithful to your spouse, and that unfaithfulness ended up in divorce, then it could affect your citizenship if it comes out that you are unfaithful to your spouse, and because of your actions being unfaithful, the marriage ended. Now, if it was, so that is one quirky part that I would say you need to watch out for. But if you're just, divorcing because, things aren't working out and you've had the green card for 5 years already, then you can apply on your own merit. And it doesn't matter about your spouse anymore. So, Nikki Ramu, how can I look up visa processing for my spouse case? Um, so if you go to it now, I don't know where your house is. If he's in the United States, you would go to case processing on the uscis.gov's website. If he's not in the U.S. and he's not the National Visa Center, then you have to probably contact the National Visa Center directly and ask them where the processing is. You can also check, the National Visa Center also gives you a portal to log in to, and you can gauge where you are, if you've submitted all the documents you need at that point. And once you've submitted all the documents at the National Visa Center, then they will basically say that is complete, and then now they're waiting for the next process, which is the interview. So you can do that too. But it's if you have the National Visa Center portal to go into. So Beauty and Brain 38. If I have a green card, can I stay out of the country for more than 6 months but under 1 year? I wouldn't, with this, I would want to know your circumstances. It's never a good idea outside of the country for more than 6 months, because it can still lead to problems like, question scrutiny. If you're applying for citizenship, and they will look back at the last 5 years that you've been traveling, and if they see that 6 month period, it's going to be a problem in the citizenship. So I would never be outside of the country for more than 6 months. Yeah, because it can lead to problems. So let's see, Loyalty 007. Can a U.S. citizen file for his wife and stepkids all at once? Yep, definitely. Or is it a case where he has to file for his wife first, then wife? No, he can file for the wife and stepkids all at the same time, because the stepkids independently qualify as relatives of a U.S. citizen. So as long as the stepkids were under 18 at the time that you got married to the U.S. citizen, then you should be fine. I'm getting divorced and applying for citizenship and told them I want to change my last name. Is that okay? That is fine. Yes, that is A-okay. And even during the citizenship so yes, exactly. So you can change your name. It's not a problem. Thank you for sharing my live, user 3649. Sasha Mondeser, you're welcome. So keep the questions coming. These are all great questions. I'm going to look to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions in the meantime. Thank you for those who started to follow me and who have shared my live. I appreciate it, and I'm here to answer your questions. So go ahead, feel free to do just that. Loyalty 007, thanks for sharing my live. Beauty and Brain 30. Let's see if I missed something. Beauty and Brain. Okay, so you just want to do vacation, right? So just a long vacation and family. So in a case like that, I would not leave for more than 6 months, because it can create issues for you. It can create issues for you coming in, unpleasant issues where the officer may, put you through some questioning. And it could also put you in problems if and when you decide to apply for citizenship. Flora Del Mar, you're welcome. So keep the questions coming. I'm here to answer your questions. So I am I am neck 251. If someone goes back due to visa, are allowed to come back, and how long would they have to stay? If someone goes back due to visa, I'm not sure with this. I may need some clarification. So if someone goes back due to visa, are they allowed to come back? And how long would they have to stay? So as it depends on the type of visa you have, but you just have to make sure you're complying with the conditions of whatever visa you have. So if you have a visitor's visa, say it's 10 years, a 10-year. One thing I want to note is you have to be careful about coming. Say the officer gives you 6 months, gives you the maximum amount allowed for a visitor, and you stay the 6 months, and then you're like, I really want to come back and stay as long as I can again. You go back for a week to your home country and then come back again for another 6 months. That can lead to a problem. I have seen it time and time again where people get their visas canceled doing that, because the officer then takes that as a sign that you're trying to use a visitor's visa to actually live in the United States and work in the United States. So be careful about that. But well-timed and spaced out trips back and forth shouldn't be a problem. So questions. I just want to let you know that if you would like to schedule a consultation with me, you want to talk to me about a particular situation you're in, you can go to the link in my bio and it will take you to my website where where you can contact the office directly, and the receptionist at the law firm will get you on my schedule to talk more. I'm on here every day to take your immigration questions. You're welcome. So I'm here every day to take your immigration questions. So please go ahead and drop the questions now, because this is your chance. But it's not going to be your only chance. Sunny Multani 96. I apply green card. My I-360 approved, and my green card status did change. So that's great. So your I-360 was approved, and didn't change. So in this case, once the and this is basically the VAWA green card. So it's the green card that's based on mistreatment by a U.S. citizen, spouse, parent, or son or daughter who's 21 and up. And so it was approved, and it was approved in, I'm thinking, 8 months. So the next process that you're going to have to wait for is the adjustment of status process. But that depends on who your relative is. If your relative is a U.S. citizen, then they'll send it to the, so it's child-based case. Okay, so if it's based on your child, so that's a citizen, son or daughter who's 21 and up. So in this case, you will wait for the adjustment of status interview, and that will take a couple more months for it to be scheduled. So in the meantime, you'll definitely have to move forward with if you have a work permit, you'll have to keep that until or renew it if it needs renewing until your adjustment of status interview is scheduled and you're able to attend it to get the green card. Hi there, Fazila131. Thanks for sharing my live. So great questions. I really do appreciate questions. I enjoy engaging with you. Go ahead and keep dropping those questions in. I am here to answer your immigration related questions. So if you have one, let me know. So the entire process is taking about 2 years. That's the average time. So, I would say you're looking at maybe another year before you get that interview scheduled. But it could take less, could take more. What I would say is, since it's now going to the adjustment EIS website, so I think I cut out a while ago. I'm gonna say that again. Sonny Multani 96. You can go to the USCIS.gov website. Go to case processing times. Search for the service center that is closest to you in your state and closest to your town, and click on that, and then you look at the I-360s and to see what their processing times look like, or the I-485. You look for the adjustment of status application, and that will give you an idea of how long they're taking to process the adjustment of status part of the green card. So Anastasia, my husband didn't know he had to register with Selective Service. Can he apply for citizenship? Yes, he can, but it can be an issue. It just all depends on the circumstances involved. So what I would say is you can give my call at 561-405-4889. And we can talk more about the situation, because it may be an issue where they're going to want more of an explanation. So Sonny Multani 96, I applied 2016 and it's 2021 now. Right, so your case is that, as I said before, it takes, it's not, the processing time is not set in stone. It could take less, could take more. It all depends on the particular circumstances, but you can check that service center if you haven't already, to see. Another thing is, if your case is outside of the processing time, there are ways to ask them, to point this out to them and ask them to put you ahead, because now your case is outside of processing long. And so in the case where you said child-based, were you the child or were you the parent? Because if it's child-based as well. So if you were, so that is probably the reason. Thinking you're the parent of a son or daughter. I mean, I can't see your picture, so I can't see whether you look young or you look like somebody with a 21-year-old. But in the case that you're a child and you're the child of you're the child of a U.S. citizen, but you're over 21, or you're the child of a legal permanent resident and you're over 21, that's taking about this time frame. So you're getting close to the end, but it's the same as the petition process. You have to wait for that period of time still. And that is if it's a U.S. citizen, it's taking 6.5 years. And if it is if you're the child of a legal permanent resident, it's taking about 5.5 years. So the good news is you're at the tail end of it, the tail end of the process. But yes, that is exactly right. So that makes sense now. So you're welcome, Sonny Multani 96. So keep the questions coming. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. If you would like to schedule a consultation with me to get help, you can go ahead and schedule by going to the link in my bio. That's going to take you to my website with my phone number. I phone number now if you want to write it down, and it's 561-405-4889. Now, my office is located in Boca Raton, Florida, but as an immigration attorney, I represent clients all over the country, because we do have to work with USCIS offices and courts all over the country. So we are not limited to the state when it comes on to federal immigration law. So if you are anywhere else outside of Florida, or you're in Florida but you're not close to where I am, I can still represent you. To do the consultations, we do phone video consultations to facilitate client the process of advising to our outside of the state. Camps 356. Hello, I had applied for the green card by marriage and they rejected my G28. So I applied for the green card by marriage and they rejected. So the G28 is for the attorney. So if you filled out a G28, then it would be rejected if you're not an attorney and you're not representing the parties. So I think that may be why. And if they rejected it, it should not affect the rest of your application. So, and if you are the petitioner, so you are a part of the marriage party, you should still be able to get updates on your case. But that G28 was not supposed to be an attorney on the case. Camps 356, what does that mean? And it just means that they rejected it because you're not an attorney. And that wasn't supposed to be filed. So you're welcome. So I am neck 251, school visa is expired, can you renew? So is that do you have a student visa? And it depends. So it depends on what type of visa you have. You said school, so it's a student visa, but what type? But I can definitely, work with you to renew that visa. What you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889, and we can talk about your qualifications for the visa and then how we would approach that renewal. So great questions. Thank you all for your questions. I don't see any more questions coming in. So I am going to check out for the night, but it's always nice to see you and to engage with you and to answer. If I'm here daily, so you can always follow me, and the minute so Camps 356, was it my number? If it's my number, it's 561-405-4889. So you can write that down. Also, if you miss that number, go to the link in my bio. It's going to take you to my website where you will see all the contact information. So you can complete a web form if you want us to contact you. Where some clients, they're maybe outside of the country and they need us to call them. That's fine. You can fill out your information and we'll get back to you. We have online chat during our office hours, which is 8:30 to 6:30. 9:30 to 6:30. But we are open from 8:30. If you would like to call, you will get the receptionist, but you will get the after hours receptionist. But the good thing is you can get through to us, and then we will call you right back first thing on Monday, or throughout the week. So I have multiple ways for you to get in touch with me to schedule a consultation. 501*6. Hi. Like how I had a visa already, can I apply for a work visa? It depends on how you qualify for that employment-based visa. Who is sponsoring you? Which employer is going to hire you? What are your qualifications? These would determine whether you can apply for a work visa. So not just having a visa alone is you can't just have a visitor's visa, for example, and then jump to the next step of getting a work visa. You have to qualify for a specific employment-based visa first. So it depends. You're welcome, 501*6. So go ahead and if you want to call me, you go to visit my website, check me out and what I do. You're free to do. It was a pleasure to see you all tonight. Thanks as usual for your support and for engaging with me. I really appreciate this. So if the school visa is expired, can I apply for a work visa? It also depends. Usually, that is a tough question it just depends on how long the school visa has been expired. Usually, you're not allowed to fall out of status between a school visa and a work visa. And then it depends on what you qualify for, what kind of work programs you qualify for, whether you've been recruited by an employer to go from having a student visa to a work visa. So it all depends in this case. Hello, I'm a green card holder. Can I apply for my hubby to get one? Right now he has a working permit. Yes, you can. And now is a good time to do it because there's no wait list for the immigrant visa. But keep in mind, one thing I want to let you know though, if you're a green card holder and your spouse is here, he has a work permit, but what kind of status does he have? Does he have a visa? And is he able to maintain his legal status for the entire, say, 2 years that it's going to take? If he can, then he can apply and stay in the United States, apply for the green card. If he's got out of status or he doesn't have a status, for example, you say he has a work permit, but I'm not sure what status he has. But if he falls out of status before he gets this green card, before he finishes the green card process, he's going to be rejected on the adjustment of status application, and he's going to be told that he needs to complete that process in his home country, which turns it into a sort of complicated process, because if he's already overstayed by some months or even a year, then if he leaves the country, he'll be barred. So the solution to that is first apply for a waiver. It's like asking for forgiveness for living in the US without papers. And then once that waiver is approved, to be able to push it, to send it out, to take that approved waiver and go to the home country where that unlawful presence would not be held against him. So in a nutshell, it's a little more complicated if your spouse is here and he doesn't have his legal status. So you can give me a call at 561-405-4889, schedule a consultation, because you want to be safe. You don't want to make any mistakes at this point. So very important to, get legal advice and make sure you're prepared for what is to come. Ma'am, my visa is IR1. If they said W-2 from our joint sponsor, I have to add joint sponsor or send W-2. So if you have a joint sponsor, you always have to include the W-2 along with the W-2. So if you have a joint sponsor, you should, if they're just asking for the W-2 from your joint sponsor, you should be able to just send that in, but it depends on why they're asking. If they feel like if they haven't met the income requirements, then you're gonna want to add another sponsor, of course, to help you to meet that 125% of the poverty guidelines, the income requirement. But if they're just saying we don't see a W-2, we'd like to see the W-2 along with the tax return, then you would just send in the W-2, because they haven't said it's insufficient. So, but it's up to you to make sure to check that it will be sufficient, because usually you don't know that until you go to the interview and the officer looks it over and says this isn't enough. They usually don't, the National Visa Center does not evaluate the affidavit of support. They only look for check mark. They check off all the documents they need. Then they're going to send those documents to the officer at the interview, which is, you know, not the best, because you go to the interview and that's where the officer is going to look and say, this isn't enough. Come back when you have a joint sponsor. You can show sufficient income, which sucks because you leave not without the green card and a delayed process. So if you go to the poverty guidelines, go to uscis.gov's website. In the search, you could do this. Look up the I-864P form. That is going to pull up that chart, and that chart is going to show the income requirements, the amount that you should be making, your sponsor should be making, compared to based on the household size. So so yes, so you have to just you know, it just depends, but it's up to you to make sure that you go in with the sufficient income. So no, his asylum case is pending. So in this case, if his asylum case is pending, then if he's undocumented, then that means that if you still go through the green card process, you're still gonna face those potential issues. So it's, yeah, that's a tricky situation. What you can do is give me a call and let's talk about your options a little bit more, and then weigh which one is best. You can go to the link in my bio to get the phone number, and I'll say it here as well. It's 561-405-4889. But if you miss that number, you can also go to the link in my bio. It takes you to my website, where you can get my contact number, or you can complete the web form, and it will send to the office, and they will contact you. Camps 356, I had applied for my green card since October and only received the notification, nothing else. Yeah. So at this point, the process is taking forever. So yeah, I would say you are in for a wait, unless I'm seeing some things speeding up and some things not so much. So you know, it's normal right now to not hear anything, for example, about the biometrics. Are waiting 6 months and they haven't done the biometrics yet. So just hang tight. All right. Let me go through. So Anjansta, that's why I'm confused about joint sponsor, because they need only the W-2. So exactly. So just send in the W-2, but and maybe that is because they haven't filed their most recent tax return yet. Because remember, tax return tax time is April. So it could be that they're saying the W-2 for the most recent tax year, but if they were early on filing their taxes, then send the tax return in with the W-2. It couldn't hurt. Ma'am, before they're not required joint sponsor, but now without saying nothing, they need only W-2. So in this case, you should give me a call, because I haven't reviewed your case. And I don't know the full circumstances, so I cannot advise you specifically. You would need to schedule a consultation to be able for me to advise you on what's going on. But I am telling you based on the general information that I know of as to why they may be requesting the W-2. So I want to apply back for my visa, but it expired. So it expired from I was in school. So it may, and 501*6, your situation might be a little more complicated, so definitely give me a call. because if it expired and you stayed in the United States, then that is definitely a problem, and it will be a problem to obtain the student visa again. So give me a call and let's talk about it more so I can give you personal legal advice, because I wouldn't be able to give you specific personal advice until I actually review more details in your case. So let's see. So Anjanta, they're still keeping my passport after the interview. So usually what they'll do is they'll hold on to the passport because they're prepared to process the passport for the immigrant visa, but they just want that one thing first. Feli thanks for sharing my live. But if you definitely need assistance, you need advice, especially during this crunch time, give me a call and let's talk about it. If the officer is just asking for the W-2, then go ahead and send that W-2 in. The officer is asking for specific information. If you have a joint sponsor, well, I wouldn't know, because it depends on what the officer said. It depends on what the basis of what they said is, which I have not heard. So I don't know I couldn't give you specific legal advice. But if the officer is asking you to find a joint sponsor or says you need a joint sponsor before they're going to approve you, then you want to definitely evaluate your options. And as always, give me a call and let's talk more. So Dark Horse 45, can I pay over the phone for a consultation, or do I have to go to the email you guys sent me? So you could definitely do it over the phone. Just give us a call and then we can walk you through it to schedule it. So that option is definitely available to do it on the phone. Just call Noelia, who is our receptionist, and tell her that I said it was fine for you to pay over the phone. Of course, we would prefer for you to pay through the email, but of course we're willing to help you out with the payment over the phone. You're welcome. Camps 356. I feel at home with all the information you're providing. Thank you so much. You're welcome, and that's what I do. I really want to keep you informed, and I know that you have these nagging questions going on in your head through the process, and so it's nice to be able to be here to give you this information and answer your questions.